Well, this will be a silver employment data and national health care update. Actually, they're all interrelated. You know, one of the assumptions Bernanke says that our economy is going to be stronger and stronger in 2013. Also, Goldman Sachs says this. Now, I too want to point out that Morgan Stanley actually says the opposite of Goldman Sachs as far as projections on gold. Morgan Stanley says it's going to be at least 2,000 plus. Goldman Sachs says it's going down because in late 2013, the economy is going to get a lot stronger, like this woman who's exercising on a bike, who she's very strong. Now, I say no, and it's not going to happen because, for one, the healthcare system. The healthcare system. You know, part of the reason we actually have a problem in the economy is over-bloated regulation, excessive taxation, and the national healthcare system is another tax. It's going to cause small businesses not to hire. That's really what it is. If the person does more than 30 hours, hey, small business is going to have to pay more for the health care. Oh, well, they're not going to hire. They're not going to bother with it, or they're going to do part-time or whatever they're going to do. Actually, though, in my opinion, the national health, any pretty much the whole health care system is garbage unless you have a real traumatic injury or, you know, something blew up on your heart and you need to have something corrected right then and there. But by and large, the healthcare system is very piss poor in this country anyway. They do very little good to people as any kind of preventative medicine or ongoing care. They're great when you get run over by a truck. But as far as, then you need healthcare for sure, right? I mean, you ain't going to take a pill that's an herb that's going to fix you then. But as far as, what's going on in the economy itself, the healthcare is actually going to keep the unemployment rate high. People are not going to hire for this reason. It's cost too much money to hire people. Now, Ben Bernanke made a forecast, and, they show these charts like, I'm not going to display them. I looked at them. They're a bunch of BS. It's like charts and statistics are a great way to lie. And you can hear 100 million freaking different opinions backed up by all the data in the world. Who's right, though? Really, that's what counts. But the charts, he'll show you, government will show you charts where the unemployment rate is going to go down and the economy is going to go up by the end of, before we can start getting into about halfway 2013. So that's why Ben Bernanke talked about backing off of QE, which caused the metals to take a hit. But that's not reality. That's a joke. And, I think they're playing the game because actually what I think is he said this stuff. He knows it's not true. He knows it's bullshit. But the people in the metals that have the short position got to unload them. Unload them on some suckers. Make it look like it's going down to oblivion. The long-term call is going to be lower, and you got to sell somebody's short positions. That's really the game. I mean, everything's a two-sided trade, right? So, that's what I suspect with why they're pushing this angle right now, that, everything's going to be rosy by the end of 2013 or halfway through the year. And, the smarter people who are just giving you general information, Mark Faber and Jim Rogers, are saying 2013 is going to be horrible. So who's right? I trust them too and over the government any day. Now, but considering that unemployment actually is going to be high, that means QE is going to continue on and as before, and maybe even increase. So that's going to be very bullish for gold. Now, you saw a little bit of a spike today in the metals. Now, I thought, like, once it breaks, these things with these resistance points on the metals is pretty difficult. They're not pinpoint accurate, Like, I think one resistance point was around $30.60 or 70 cents right in that area. And another one was at right around 30. So it went below 30, right? But I don't know if that's, if it's going to bounce right there. That's what I'm thinking, too. It could bounce because it's not really that much below 30. And the other thing is, in reality, people are buying coins in record numbers. The U.S. Mint is having record sales, and the ETFs are selling hot and heavy on a silver and gold. So, I always said I used to say it even years ago, spot price is a bunch of BS. But what's interesting is crude oil is up a lot today. It's up over 90 on the WTI to West Texas. And that is because of fears of going over the fiscal cliff. It's amazing. You know, sometimes something goes down, they say it's because of fear of going over the fiscal cliff, and sometimes something goes up because of the same reason. Right. That tells me market manipulation. But I also think it's partly because, I do think, though, the trend for gold is actually upward, and crude oil and gold pretty much roughly run together. There is market manipulation going on. I'm just going to state it like a conspiracy fact, whatever. I'm not going to say like it's manipulated where it should be 10 times, the gold should be thousands of dollars more an ounce and silver should be hundreds of dollars right now. I don't think it's manipulated that much, but it is manipulated. And all they're accomplishing with doing this, with this manipulation, is giving away precious metals to China. They're the one they fear so much, the big one, as Lindsey Williams' elite friend alludes to. They're just giving them metals real cheap. Real money, they're going to China real cheap. It's a dangerous game our elite are playing, and I think they're fools. They are. They're such, the thing is, they'll do anything to keep control for themselves, and they'll worry about the results later. Very short-term thinkers. Chinese are long-term thinkers. Russian planners are long-term thinkers. I think our elite are short-term thinkers. There may be a few of them that are in the long term, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. It seems like they just react to the situation. That's what they seem to do. Now, our economy is actually in the mud. It's stuck in the mud, and it's going to stay stuck in the mud until they start deregulating things, knocking away a lot of excessive taxes. Actually, Obama is actually backing off a little bit on some of the tax expirations for the tax breaks that were in place, them expiring, because they're afraid that it's going to hurt the economy that much more. Now, I know there's an impetus to try to tax the rich, but you know what? The wealthy, the real wealthy, never get taxed. Never. There's always a way around it. And, I pointed out, not only do they go into gold and silver, they do that, artwork, farmland, paintings, watches, you name it. It could be anything. I've seen what the hell was those things again? Not rubies or, I don't know, it was some kind of gemstone. It was in a formation. It was like the most exotic, exquisite, natural formation of these, I forgot what the hell they were. They're actually in a naval facility in Sarasota. It's owned by some Europeans, and they kept it there because they don't trust the vaults in Europe. It's actually in a naval vault. Thing's worth like $650 million or some crap. Who the hell knows you got it? Who knows you got it? You taxed on it? Yeah, right. That's what the wealthy do. The real wealthy, they don't get taxed. They got the best people, and there's so much stuff you could do. It's amazing. What happens is you tax the upper middle class, who basically hires people. So, if they raise the taxes on the wealthy, it ain't going to go on the wealthy. It's just going to be in the upper middle class. But the economy is actually stuck in the mud, and I think Bernanke's just going to do more and more QE. I think Bernanke was playing a game with this recent announcement about inflation being held at 2.5% or lower, and unemployment going down to 6.5% or lower. It was just a game to drive the markets a certain way, and then people would unload their short positions on the metals. I think you're probably going to see a major difference in the metals already. They will downgrade the U.S. debt again. There'll be other agencies will do it. Moody's will do it, besides S&P and Fitch. So when that happens, gold is going to go way up. So the only thing actually in our economy, it's going to be one of the few places that's going to really move. And, one thing I think other place is probably going to be some of the stocks in hemp. If there's any more of these entrepreneurial companies that could start up, say in the state of Washington or Colorado, around the medicinal marijuana industry, or some of the products with hemp, now that some of the things are more legal, I think some of those companies are probably going to start doing very well, and it's probably just as good an investment as anything that's even in a silver mine, which are doing terrible right now. But as far as like what's coming up with the fiscal cliff, it looks like we're going over it partially. When I say what's going to happen is it's going to hit, then they're going to react. But what I think what's going on with the fiscal cliff, they're playing games. I think that Obama wants to go over to, I don't want to get politics here, but I think Obama wants to go over the fiscal cliff. So he's going to get or the Democrats, whatever the hell it is, because they'll get certain things in place. In other words, these are the guys that are in control. In other words, they can vote in whatever the hell they want anyway, because they control everything right now. So I'm thinking to myself, they're playing a shrewd game right now. And the Republicans already caved in on a bunch of stuff, and they showed themselves to be true traitors to the American people again. So I don't know. It's like big money runs everything in the United States. But it looks like we're going to go partially over the fiscal cliff. But, they're telling me right now that's why oil went up. Last week oil went down because of the fiscal cliff. But I have to think that the fundamental pressures are really what's cooking behind the scenes. If oil's going up right now, gold should be going up too. And then you're going to see silver follow. But really the big news that's going to come up, and it's going to come up unexpected because it's going to be the most closely guarded secret going. But we already see the writing on the wall, and we already seen 50 million warnings from over the last year. The rating agencies are going to downgrade the U.S. debt. That is definitely going to make gold soar a lot in 2013, and silver. So hang on. That's all I got to say. And don't expect the economy to improve. I don't know. It's not going to. And I think that's their policy, to tell you the truth. The overall plan of the elite actually is to weaken the United States and bring it on par with the rest of the world and even everything out. That's what they want to do. So if, don't expect them to do it. The only way to actually improve the economy is for you to do it yourself. So that's what happens.